my social studies project with Tobias and me. For thousands of years, North America was populated by Native Americans. In the 1500s, Europeans began arriving in America. The British founded the colonies in the East Coast. The British settlers came to America for many reasons. Some main reasons were making money, setting up trade, and religious reasons.
It's not for sale, but I could give you some sticks. Hey, what? No, mate, that's a lot of land over there. We gotta go settle.
Alright.
Me and my kids could live here forever. Don't you just love the East Coast?
People left Europe for religious freedom. William Penn hosted the Holy Experiment, where he had people of different religious backgrounds live with each other. Britain hoped to gain natural resources off the colonies. Each colony had their own government but were ruled by the British king. By the 1700s, many colonists were mad because they didn't have self-government. This meant that they couldn't govern themselves and make their own laws. They had to pay taxes, and the king felt that they were paying taxes to a government where they had no representation. The British government had a constitutional monarchy. Well, what's a constitutional monarchy? Well, the constitutional monarchy is a system of government where a monarch, like king or queen, is the head of a state. But their powers are limited by a constitution and shared with a constitutionally organized government, often a parliament. How did the colonies govern themselves? Well, the 13 colonies governed themselves by establishing colonial legislatures led by elected assemblies and advised by councils, which handled the local matters, while the British monarch and parliament held ultimate authority over foreign policy, war, and trade.
Baby girl, come on.
From now on, it's either these are serious topics and I shall not act it out, or I cannot act it out because I have no ideas for these facts. How did they govern themselves and who participated? Well, according to constitutioningamerica.org, it says that there are 3 different types of colonies: royal, self-governing, and proprietary. Royal colonies were completely managed by the crown. Self-governing colonies were formed when the king granted a charter to a joint stock company which set up its own independent governing system. Last, proprietary colonies were land grants given by the king to one or few favored men called proprietors. Fact 7. This is one of the serious facts. Slavery was really harsh and torture, but what role did slavery have on the colonies? So the forced labor of enslaved people created wealth for white colonists, particularly through the production of cash crops, and allowed the colonies to grow and thrive. Fact 8, which is also a serious topic. Why was slavery introduced and how did it work? Well, in the colonies, slavery was used for labor and made the slaves work all day to make money for the owner. Examples of making money were cotton, crops, and tobacco. Daily life in the colonies is very different from now. People work but then have work days off in our modern days. Back then, they would wake up and work until dawn, and it repeats every day. Colonial children had numerous chores and responsibilities, such as helping with harvest, tending livestock, and doing housework like cooking and cleaning. Adults were usually farming crops for money or doing other things to keep the family up and running. That is the end. That's my project. Thank you, Tobias, and hope you enjoyed.